of our indigenous people across Canada and the United States, we've been making haute couture fashion since the beginning of time. There is this concept of traditional and authentic, and that really is an invented term by non-native people and non-native collectors and anthropologists and museum curators. So I really just try to use the term historical, because it is historical. You know, it's a history. And culture is always changing. Tradition is always changing. Culture and tradition are living, breathing entities. Indie Market Haute Couture's fashion show really is about celebrating contemporary Indigenous fashion designers, and also what makes this unique is that the artists, the designers, are not restricted to what Native fashion or Native textiles should be or what's expected of them. They're given the artistic and designer freedom and vision to create.
All of the garments that you'll see walking in the fashion show today are all inspirations from traditional oral stories that were taught to me by my grandmother and my uncles and my aunties. My work, the reason I created it the way I created it was because I'm living in an urban environment and I see lots of Indigenous people living in the same environment, and we want to find a way to show who we are, to ground ourselves. It's an urban regalia. I ask my models to connect to whichever culture they're a part of, so that when they walk down the runway, they are regal and elegant, and they are leaders of their people. I'm so proud of them.
How I could describe my clothing is very fashion forward, meaning like it's today, it's a new trend, a new idea that hasn't been created yet, something that you could use for tomorrow, and also still carries history and culture.
Our work, I would say, is more modern style, mixed with traditional elements from our culture. It's very inspired by our culture, and we put a lot of detail into our work. For some of the garments, it took several months just for the beadwork. For instance, the wedding dress, that had over 100,000 beads. There's cultural elements in all of the pieces. We of course have the woven basket dress in satin to represent the very common fancy baskets that our Wabanaki people are known for.
My work represents the northwest coast of Canada and Los Angeles Hollywood high-end evening wear. I add just a touch of culture so that it gives it the flair, but yet can fit in mainstream society. My main goal when I started doing fashion design was to work with our First Nations, our Aboriginal young ladies, so they could build self-esteem and better self-confidence.
I draw from everything, and it's a combination that really comes together through this one harmonious element that I push towards using digital techniques and applications. A lot of my creative process is done on the computer. So it's done with generative design, with processing, and that really helps me come up with algorithms that help me generate these geometric designs for these outfits.
It's really putting together a group of designers that fit well together and present a good show together, and also just shows a diversity of designers.
I think the beauty of the show and what stuck with me was the power of bringing the past into the present. And this year's designers, they were incredible. They really succeeded in doing that.
What struck me most about the show is it empowers the people. It gives hope to a culture that really needs hope.
It is like such a joy to get to be a part of this creative process with phenomenal designers that I can't wait to have them up as the top designers in the world.
It's an unbelievable feeling to be a part of something large like this. I feel very honored when I see a lot of tourists who come along and they're blown away by the work that Native Americans can do.
As an Indigenous woman walking in this show, participating in it, it's helping to rewrite the narrative, and it's letting the world know that not only are Indigenous people still here, but we're kicking ass, we're badass, we're thriving, and we're here to